Hello, my dear friends. Today, I will share with you the story of a woman who once had almost nothing, but who created magic for millions of people. She is the author of Harry Potter, one of the most loved stories in the whole world. Her name is J.K. Rowling. She was poor. She was a single mother. She faced rejection again and again. But she never gave up. She believed in her dream. She believed in her story, and with patience and courage, she changed her life forever. This story is not only about Harry Potter. It is also about imagination, hope, and never giving up. It is about how one woman found strength even in her hardest times. And before we begin, let me remind you, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, English 7 Days. Now, let us begin the journey of J.K. Rowling, the woman behind Harry Potter. Joanne Rowling, known later as J.K. Rowling, was born on July 31st, 1965, in Yate, England. She grew up in a modest home. Her father worked at a factory. Her mother was gentle and loving. From the very beginning, Joanne loved stories. She loved listening to fairy tales. She loved reading books filled with adventure. She loved imagining magical creatures and faraway lands. When she was 6 years old, she wrote her first story. It was about a rabbit. She showed the story to her mother, who praised her. That small encouragement planted a seed inside Joanne's heart. One day, she wanted to become a writer. Joanne had a younger sister, Diane. The two sisters were close. At night, Joanne would tell Diane made-up stories. She created characters. She gave them voices. She made adventures. Her sister listened with wonder. Joanne's childhood was not always easy. Her family had simple means. They did not have much money. But Joanne's imagination was rich. She could escape into books and into her own mind. In school, Joanne was quiet and shy. She was not the best in math or science, but she was strong in languages and literature. Teachers noticed her love for words. She sometimes felt like an outsider. She was not the most popular girl, but she did not let that stop her. Instead, she found comfort in reading. She read everything she could find. Fairy tales, classics, adventures, mysteries. Joanne once said, "I lived for books. If you took books away from me, I would feel empty." Writing became her secret joy. She carried notebooks. She scribbled down ideas. She made up stories even during boring lessons. At home, her parents hoped she would do something practical in the future. But Joanne dreamed of being a writer. As Joanne grew older, her love for writing grew stronger. She wrote short stories. She filled diaries. She practiced her craft again and again. She admired authors like Jane Austen, C.S. Lewis, and J.R.R. Tolkien. Their books gave her courage. If they could create wonderful worlds, maybe she could too. But life was not easy. Her family did not have much money. Her parents could not give her everything she wanted. She sometimes felt insecure, yet she held onto her dream. I want to be a writer. University years. When Joanne finished school, she went to the University of Exeter to study French and classics. She also spent time in Paris as part of her studies. At university, she read widely Greek mythology, French literature, and Latin texts. She learned about history and ancient stories. All these ideas later helped her when she created the magical world of Harry Potter. Even while studying, she kept writing. She wrote in notebooks. She wrote ideas for characters and plots. Writing was always her secret passion. The train ride that changed everything. In 1990, Joanne was traveling by train from Manchester to London. During the long ride, something magical happened. An idea came into her mind. A boy who discovers he is a wizard. A boy who lives in a cupboard under the stairs. A boy who goes to a school of magic. A boy who fights against evil with courage and love. That boy was Harry Potter. Joanne said the idea came fully formed. She could see Harry in her imagination, his messy black hair, his glasses, his lightning-shaped scar. She could see Hogwarts School, the magical castle. She could see wands, spells, and magical creatures. She had no pen with her on the train, so she just sat and thought, building the story in her mind. By the time the train reached London, Harry Potter had been born in her imagination. A time of pain and struggle. Not long after that train ride, tragedy struck. Joanne's mother became very sick with multiple sclerosis. In December 1990, she passed away. Joanne was only 25 years old. Her mother's death broke her heart. Joanne had never told her mother about the idea of Harry Potter. She felt deep sadness that her mother would never read her books. At the same time, Joanne's life became harder. She moved to Portugal to teach English. There, she got married and had a baby girl, Jessica. But the marriage was unhappy. It ended in divorce. Joanne returned to Scotland with her daughter. She was now a single mother with very little money. She lived in a small flat. She often struggled to pay bills. She sometimes could not afford heating. She felt hopeless. She suffered from depression. She once said she felt like a failure. But through all the pain, one thing gave her hope: writing Harry Potter, writing in cafes. Joanne often went to cafes with her baby. She would put Jessica in a stroller, order a small cup of coffee, and write while her daughter slept. She wrote by hand. She filled notebook after notebook. She wrote about Harry, Ron, Hermione, Dumbledore, and Voldemort. She created spells, games like Quidditch, and magical creatures. She built a world piece by piece. Writing became her escape. It was her way of surviving. She once said, "I was as poor as it is possible to be in modern Britain without being homeless. But I had my daughter, and I had an old typewriter, and I had a big idea." Rejections and failure. After finishing the first book, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Joanne sent the manuscript to publishers. One publisher said no. Another said no. Another said no again. In fact, 12 publishers rejected the book. Some said children would not read such a long fantasy story. Others said it was not interesting. Each rejection was painful. Joanne cried. She doubted herself, but she did not give up. She believed in Harry Potter. Finally, one small publisher, Bloomsbury, agreed to publish the book. They printed only 500 copies at first. They even advised Joanne to get a day job because children's books did not make money. The Beginning of Magic. In 1997, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was published. To everyone's surprise, the book became popular very quickly. Children loved it. Adults loved it too. Readers connected with Harry, a lonely boy who finds friendship and courage. They loved the magical school of Hogwarts. They loved the fight between good and evil. The book won awards. Libraries ordered more copies. Teachers recommended it to students. Soon, more books followed. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, then The Prisoner of Azkaban, then more. The world of Harry Potter had begun, from poverty to fame. In just a few years, Joanne went from poverty to global fame. The Harry Potter books sold millions of copies. They were translated into many languages. Then came the movies. The first film, released in 2001, was a huge success. More films followed, making Harry Potter a global cultural phenomenon. J.K. Rowling, once a struggling single mother, became the first author to become a billionaire from writing books, but fame did not come easily. It brought pressure, media attention, and criticism. Yet Joanne stayed strong. The lessons in Harry Potter. Harry Potter was not just about magic, it was about real-life lessons. Love is the strongest power. Friendship helps us in hard times. Choices are more important than talent. Courage is standing up even when afraid. Even the smallest person can make a big difference. These lessons reflected Joanne's own life. She knew struggle, rejection, and loss, but she also knew the power of hope and imagination. Life after Harry Potter. After finishing the 7 Harry Potter books, J.K. Rowling continued to write. She wrote adult novels under the name Robert Galbraith. She wrote screenplays like Fantastic Beasts. She also became a philanthropist. She donated millions to charities, especially for children, education, and medical research. She created the Lumos Foundation to help children in need. She used her success to help others. A woman of resilience. J.K. Rowling's life teaches us about resilience. She once said, "Rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life." Her story shows us, do not give up when life is hard. Rejection is not the end. Dreams can come true with patience and courage. Today, Harry Potter is more than books. It is movies, plays, games, and theme parks. Millions of children grew up with Harry Potter. Millions of adults still reread the books. But behind all of it is one woman, J.K. Rowling, who once sat in cafes, poor and tired, writing her dream into life. Her story is proof that imagination can change the world. J.K. Rowling, the woman behind Harry Potter, showed that dreams are worth fighting for. She showed that courage, patience, and imagination can turn failure into triumph.